Hello, maurieo! AUTOCAD 2D Level 1, Session 9, Text and Hatching. Hello! Welcome. Well, in this session, we're going to be looking at text and hatching. Now, usually these occur once we have drawn all the lines of our plan, completed our designs, and have everything how we want it, and then we add the text and the hatching to add clarity and notes to our plan. Now, these are very sensitive to the scale that we're going to output things in. Obviously, in model space where everything is drawn in the real world one-to-one, the text and that very much depends on what scale we're going to put things out to. So this is where annotative text and hatching and all that comes in. So it's very important that we pay close attention to detail to our text and to our hatching. Have a clear plan as to what we want to achieve and what we're going to do. We can't just give it a poke it here and put it there and hope for the best, because that leads to all sorts of problems, and ultimately some form of corruption can take part as we try to compromise and change and fiddle things around to make them fit. So best is to leave it to the end. We've got a clear idea of what we want, what sort of scale we're going to be working to, and that sort of thing. So let's head over to the large screen and have a look at our Moodle situation. So here we are, we're in session 9. Here's our introductory video, and here's our session notes that we'll have a look at in a minute. And then through here we've got 6 videos from chapter 17 and 3 videos from chapter 18. So chapter 17 is generally on text, notes and tables, putting in a table. And chapter 18 is on hatching generally. Alright, and so we work through those, and once we've completed those, we do a review of the chapter from the book. There's lots of additional information, supplementary information there in the book. And then we preview chapters 19 and 20 for our next session, session 10. So this is our penultimate session. There's only one more after this. I do have to say that after having completed and making the videos on text, that throughout the book it talked about an elusive X that you pushed to close the text palettes and boxes. And I was looking in the box itself and I had great difficulty finding it. I did eventually find it, and you'll find that it's in the top, and I'm just pointing in the general area now. On the AutoCAD, it would be in the top right hand corner of the ribbon here, or at the end of the ribbon, and it's a large X where it closes, and it's quite a common X that's used for closing various palettes and menus and things, text, tables off memory, and leaders and other things like that, dimensions. So it's just another means of closing the box. You can just tick outside to close and push escape or something like that. So yeah, there are certainly other ways of doing it. So let's have a look at our session notes. Pretty standard set of notes. There's not too much there, but we'll have a bit of a look. So slideshow from the beginning, and that then causes problems somewhere else, which I just sorted out. Okay, from the beginning. Oh, slideshow from the beginning. Damn, did that wrong. Okay, so session 8, text and hatching. These are my contact details. If you want to contact me, perhaps you're not on my course but have some questions for me, certainly feel free to email me or send me a text, or call me if you want. Just be aware of time differences and things like that. So I can be a bit incoherent at 3 o'clock in the morning my time, which could well be breakfast your time or something like that. Anyway, moving right along, this is my plan for this particular session, is that I will sign you up, get your name on paper, go through this little introduction, which includes an opportunity for questions and answers, and then really I'll let you go ahead and learn, and only interrupt you, or if there's a fire or it's absolutely necessary, or you have a question for me. So you're in control of your learning, and I have to say most of you are doing a pretty good job of it. Far better, I think, getting far more out of it than listening to me rabbit on for hours on end while you watch someone else do the stuff that you're actually doing yourself. So keep up the good work. I'm very pleased with the way things have been going in class. I couldn't have asked for a better result, I don't think. And some of you are starting to finish up, so I have provided some little extra bits and pieces there that you may be interested in, or you may have something of your own. So the learning outcomes for this session are really around text and hatching. So with text, you create, edit, modify and format. You can import and export, bring it in, cut and paste. All of the things that you can do with text in a word processing document, you can do in AUTOCAD, spell check. Perhaps you have a slightly limited palette to work with. It's not as fully functional as say Word 2016 or something like that, but it certainly has most of the basic concepts in there that can be done. So if you think something can be done, it probably can be done. Almost nothing's impossible, but some things are a little bit difficult to achieve. So that's chapter 17 is around text, leaders, which are arrows and points into things, and tables, which are a very good tool, particularly for recording details of parts and bits and pieces, coordinates, heights, that sort of thing. Chapter 18 will be creating, editing, formatting and aligned hatching, which is a great tool for bringing clarity to plans, to show with the pictures what things are. I think it's famously been said, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's what these plans are. And the hatches and the tables and the text and all that certainly help to enhance that experience for the viewer and to give them a clear view of what's going on. I would say that hatches can be very temperamental, and you'll see that in one of the videos where I take a considerable amount of time and go around in quite a few circles to try and achieve some of the outcomes that are in the book, and with varying degrees of success. I left those in there as an indication of the sort of frustration that can happen, and just to, you're not alone. It can be quite frustrating. So I would recommend that, particularly in the hatches, go in their own layer, and that they're done right at the end of things when everything is sorted and most problems have been ironed out. The hatches themselves may well identify further problems, but there'll be less of them, and it'll be easier if you leave it to the end and certainly give them hatches their own layer. I'd almost say the same with texts and dimensions as well. Try and put them in separate layers, and to avoid all sorts of conflicts and things that can occur and ultimately can lead to corruption of plans and the loss of data, and yes, some very upset people. All right, questions and answers. So this is the point in the class time where I ask for question and answers that people may have encountered since the last session, or they may have occurred to them, or burning question that's woken them up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I must ask that next time I'm in my CAD class. that sort of thing. So yes, so clearly in this medium I won't be able to hear any questions, and I can give you some answers. So this is, as I said, session 9. So yeah, we're sort of got most things sorted out with regards to routine and what's going to happen. So most of the questions, you know, things are getting a little more complex now. So, but we're not afraid to ask, one would hope. And yeah, so I'll look forward to the questions in class. All right, and that brings us to what's new in Moodle, and this is the slot where I go back to the Moodle site, and we'll just drop that down there and drop that there, and here we are in Moodle. So this is our session 9, which I've gone through there again. Session 10 is coming up. Don't forget the vlog where I just write a little bit of resume after each session that we've had. To be fair, there hasn't been, they've all gone pretty similar, and there hasn't been any great insights or anything to particularly report on, but you know, I have reported on that that routineness of them. So the task videos, they're just videos on individual tasks that people have asked me about over time. Obviously I add to that as things become more thing, and also this is the Ask Me Anything thing, which is sort of a similar sort of thing, but more directed at things. Some example plans, some project house videos which I've explained previously. This basic AutoCAD level class, I haven't. This is perhaps the third way I have of teaching. I've tried of teaching this. All of them with varying degrees of success, but one of the ways in this way here, I just get the students to produce a project house, and we all draw the same house using the same set of videos and go through the same experiences, and yeah, it works pretty well. Get some pretty good results out of that. So that's an option there if you wanted to. It's again, but what I have added is this little tab here, 3D modeling. I'm getting a few questions about 3D modeling. How do you do 3D modeling? 3D modeling is not a forte of mine. It's not something I've done very much of at all. It's an area that I will be looking at in light of the 2D experience. Just remember that this is a AutoCAD 2D level 1 course. So it's about 2D CAD, but obviously the logical progression is through to 3D. So what I've done here is I've put in some things that I've found on YouTube. 3D Modeling Basics by Brooke Godfrey, 2013 AutoCAD. It's quite old, but it's quite good, and she's quite clear. And I've used her 2D basic exercise previously prior to the project house, and they're very quite clear and in a nice logical order. So that's a very good introduction to 3D modeling basics. I would say that it doesn't give you sort of hands-on projects to follow through. It's more just explaining the particular commands and what have you. So, but it is good and comprehensive in that sort of respect. She also then draws some furniture in 3D, which is more of a project-based approach that I was talking about with the project house. And then finally, I've got a little playlist there, and it's a 3D tutorial. I think there's 5 videos, and it takes you through drawing or designing a guitar. And so it covers a lot of the 3D commands and functionality and concepts. And I've got one student working on that, and feedback from there is that it's you know, quite reasonable and interesting and holds your attention. So yeah, and quite time consuming as well. Takes quite a bit of time. So yeah, that's what I've added there. If you have any stuff of your own that you found interesting, by all means give me the link and we can add it to the site. So I think at that point there, I think that's pretty much tidied everything up. We'll leave it there for session 8, introduction. And yeah, good luck with session 9. Good luck with session 9, the penultimate session. And we look forward to seeing you in session 10 and concluding this AutoCAD 2D Level 1 course. Cheers. See you.